Give me a minute, I promise to make it pop. If she come with me, she leave with me, that's on the God. No matter what, no matter just who you are. If you change your mindset, a million is who you are. We shine bright from carbon just like a star. And we hustle hard, stay focused, give it our all. And I
never seen so many riches in my life.
Yeah.
Fountains of champagne and numb that pain.
Come on.
I've been blinded by these diamonds in my eyes.
Say what?
Diamonds in my eyes.
Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome to another one, man. This is your boy, Rob One, and this is Sparking Conversation. And y'all know what I do each and every week. I get up here and I talk to some of the world's most interesting people, and I'm going to do the same thing this week. Y'all know how it goes down. So, like I also do each and every week, I'm going to give a special shout out to all the people that download the audio version of this platform. Again, y'all the real MVPs. I tell y'all that each and every week because I want y'all to understand how important it is that when you're doing this platform game, I know I say this all the time. Everybody understands that you go viral off of the visual, but to have this as a real business, for this to really, really count for you, for this to be a thing where sponsors and brands that take you serious, it's the audio version because that's what podcasting is. Podcasting is in between radio and in between television. It's got its own lane in there. And for a lot of people, they only see one part of it. And when that part doesn't go a certain way, they give up. And you know the old saying, they always say everybody doing this and everybody doing that. Everybody play basketball, everybody play football, but only a few really make it. Now, are there people that's good enough that should have made it, that's sitting in the hood, that might be in the alleyway somewhere because they got caught on alcohol or drugs? Yeah, that's a fact. But does that mean that the elite don't make it where they're supposed to go when you put hard work in front of talent? Because hard work always outbeats talent when talent don't work hard. So if you one of them people out here that's listening to this and you got a platform or you got, you really serious about this and you want to know more about how to distribute your audio version of your platform to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever people get they stream their audio versions of platforms at, hit me up. I got y'all. It'll be a link in the description. RSS feed is what it's called. You guys can click on the link and you can get started for free. All right. So it's no excuse, right? But it is a small investment that it will take for you to get it where it needs to be. But understand that's what it's about. You got to believe in yourself if nobody else do, right? All right, back. So shout out to them. Shout out to all the sponsors. Shout out to B Atlas One in the building. Don't forget, y'all, we coming. All right, I'm telling y'all, we coming with the wine tastings this spring and summer. We'll put all the information together. And when that does happen, I want y'all to do me a favor. And y'all want more information about it. All y'all got to do is hit us up, right? And I want you to hit me up at sparkingconversation@gmail.com, all right? And you just put in the subject line, you want more info for the mixer. It's going to be a networking mixer as well as a wine tasting. It's going to be super dope. It's going to be mad people in the building that you can network and rub elbows with, and we can make some things go further, all right? This is supposed to be the golden age of America coming up, so we want to get in the mix, right? All right, back. So I have some guests tonight. I have some special guests tonight. I have another platform that I support personally, and it's called Oyendia, right? It's a bilingual lifestyle talk show. It's normally 3 members, but unfortunately, one of the members is no longer with us as of a tragedy that happened over the weekend. So it'll be a little bit different of an energy about what we was going to talk about because we already had this planned out. We had this planned out since last year, right, to be on the show. But one thing that we cannot plan is timing and your time and our time. This is why each and every day is very, very important, right? That you pay attention, pick your battles, right? Figure out what's more important to you. Is it more important being right? Or is it more important by having peace? You got to pick and choose in life, right? Because things happen each and every day that people can't help. And when those things happen, you know, you always got to sit back and you got to reflect on it. You got to think about it. You got to say things to yourself like that, yo. I wish I had this time, or I wish this happened, or I wish I could have. You know, you can't do that. Don't happen for you at that time, right? You don't get those times over. So, with all relationships in life, there's some relationships that you cannot fix, right? But you got to have peace with it. There are relationships that you can fix, right? Or you may not fix, but you can reach out and get your peace about it. Now, how people continue to feel after that, that's on them. But you can get the peace that you need for your life, right? To move forward. Because, you know, tomorrow's not promised. And no matter what, for most people, they would rather have the person here than to have been right, or won an argument, or, you know, found a reason to be in your feelings about something, right? So before I bring my guests up, y'all know how I do. I gotta before I do that, shout out to Java Burn. Make sure y'all click the link in the description for Java Burn. From what I'm understanding and for what I believe, it's helping a lot of people out, you know, for people that drink coffee, right? So all the coffee drinkers out there that need a little extra pep in the coffee, that give you an extra little burn in your tongue, then Java Burn for you, all right? So make sure y'all check them out. Make sure y'all check out Second Round. For everybody out there that wanted to know more information about Second Round, you know what to do. Just click the link in the description. You can get all the information that you need, okay? It does a whole lot more than just help you to keep moving on when you need to move on, all right? So, now that that's out the way, let's get down to business. Y'all know how I do each and every week. I got to give y'all something to think about. Now, come on, y'all. This is getting ridiculous out here. Like, you know, I said this last week, and I'm going to keep saying it until we figure it out. Look, y'all got to stop trying to get us to come together race baiting. It's not going to work. We're not trying to hear that. Listen, you can't hire somebody to do a job, and then when they do the job, you mad because they doing the job. That's crazy to me. What you hire them for if you don't want them to do what you hired them for? And right now, you know, they still coming up with ways to try to divide America by trying to make us not pay attention to the fact that the Doge Squad out here figuring out stuff. Like, it's weird to me. Like, yo, look, we got to start putting all this stuff aside. Like, this is not about color. Think about this, y'all. If anything that got to do with the IRS or anything, they don't care what your race is, yo. You better pay. If you don't pay, they coming to get. Right? Think about all the people who didn't pay taxes that we know that are celebrities and everything else that spent time in jail over taxes. Taxes that they were illegally using and spending and taking and they were robbing us, yo, blind. Not was, but, you know, I guess we could say was in certain places, but it's a few more places that got. Now, this ain't got nothing to do with what side you choosing. This should have everything to do with your life, yo. Like, come on. We get taxed on every single thing. You get your income tax taken out before you get your Social Security taken out, all this other stuff, and then they sending out Social Security payments to people who 300 years old. And y'all mad at that? Like, yo, it's still somebody out here 300 years old cashing checks? Y'all bugging. And then you wonder why they keep talking about by 2020, 2030 or some random number like that. Social Security won't even be there no more. I guess not, yo. They sending out checks to people who 300 years old, 200 years old, 180, 189. Like, it's crazy. And it's millions and millions of dollars, yo. Like, how? And the checks are being cashed? Yo, listen. It come a point in time, y'all, where we just gotta pay attention. Now, when it comes down to it, I wanted to say this in a way where I hope y'all get it. If y'all feel a certain way, y'all know what to do. The comments are wide open, right? Just leave how you feel in the comments. But emotions, y'all, we gotta do better with our emotions, right? We have to. We cannot be led by our emotions. We can't be moved by our emotions. We have to be able to control the things that we can control. And our emotions is what we can control. And we should not allow people to just come in when they want to, and they can just scam us. Right? Scam you out of everything. Move you out of your position just based on how they feel. Life is not meant to be lived around people. It's meant to be lived with people. Right? So there should be nobody that comes into your life, especially as a man. Like, listen, y'all, it's just certain things that we just cannot do. Your position in life don't go away because of what you may be feeling for the day. It don't matter. Like you can sit up here and say I don't feel like it today. Does not mean that the day ain't gonna feel like doing what it's gonna do that day on you. You don't get to do that. And yeah, so what? We understand we get tired and we understand that things come into our life sometimes that we don't want to deal with. But the fact of the matter is that's the position that we was given. We're not gonna always handle things right, but to be able to handle and deal with your emotions will help you to be able to make that decision another day. Right? I got my guest that I'm gonna bring up in a second, right? And you know, I just I'm just one of these people in life, right? That really looks at things from a different perspective, and I always know that there's a bigger meaning behind things that happen. But then there comes a time in life where you just can't explain certain things to certain people. You just gotta hold on to whatever faith that you got, right? To just for you to maintain and try to get your purpose done, right? Try to live in a way where you're in your purpose and you can achieve your purpose, right? So many of us put so many other things and other people before us when we realize that we all here for a purpose, right? So I want to make sure that after tonight's conversation, because we got to talk about we're going to talk about Oyendia. We're going to talk about the platform itself, but we also got to talk about what happened a little bit to why, it's only two of the three members here tonight. And yo, I'm going to be honest with y'all, man. It's one of them things that I always say to a lot of people, uh, you know, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You're going to have to figure out if you're okay with it or not. Because what I'm going to do is definitely going to lead with respect at all times. I'm never not going to leave with respect because at the end of the day, you just never know, right? So before we get too deep into that, let me go ahead and bring my guest up real quick, yo, so we could chop it up because it's a lot I wanted to talk to them about. But unfortunately, we got to kind of mix it up a little bit more than what I wanted to give the audience tonight because I really wanted to give you guys, a look into how cultures can work together, right? And be able to get a message out. So let me bring my guest up real quick. Let's go. All right, we got Talkman Tim and we got Yessie Rodriguez from Oi and Dear TV. What's going on with y'all?
Hello. Tim, you're on mute. Hello, hello. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Yes.
what's happening? How you doing?
Hey, yo, what's good, y'all, man? I'm glad to see y'all, man. I'm glad that there's smiles on y'all face because I know it's still a sad time for the brand. But thank y'all so much for jumping on, all right, tonight and being able to pull through it, right? Because it's a lot going on in y'all world, right?
Yeah.
So before we get too far into it, what I like to do is I like each of y'all to take a small second and introduce yourself to the audience, right? And let them know who you guys are.
Ladies first.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. I am Yessie Rodriguez, host and producer of Hoy en Día TV. And I'm also a professional SAG eligible actress, model, podcaster, entrepreneur, businesswoman, designer, a little bit of everything. I just like to dive into a little bit of everything. But overall, I'm blessed. And so for those who want to know me, you can find me on my social media. You can also go on Google, type in Yessie Rodriguez, go on my website, yessierodriguez.com. And I mean, I do a little bit of everything. I even sell contact lenses, accessories. So, hey, this is me. This is Yessie Rod. So,
Yes, you're right.
All
Love it.
right, that's
You're a
right.
busy
That's right.
lady. You're a busy lady.
yeah.
Okay. Hey, Tim Stewart, aka Talk Man Talk. As Talk Man Talk, I speak to inspire, motivate, and educate people from every walk, focusing on 12 principles to inner peace and common unity for happier, healthier, and safer communities in which to live, work, and play. I'm a motivational speaker, a life coach, a published author, and now soon coming a course creator. So, I stay pretty busy, but I have reached a point in my life where as you were saying, Rod, in the introduction, I have discovered my purpose, right?
Right.
And I stay in my lane. And see, you're so spot on with that term purpose. You know what the opposite of purpose is?
What's that?
Abuse.
Woo!
Ah.
Well,
Okay, I used to use drugs and alcohol, substance abuse, right? Well, there's a good
Right.
purpose for medication, right? But because I
Right.
didn't I operated outside of the purpose of that medication, it was called abuse.
Right.
that makes sense. Absolutely.
So
Right.
you can apply that to a person's life. If they've never discovered their purpose, they will abuse it. You can apply that to a marriage. If they never understand the purpose of it, they will abuse it.
That's true. That's true. And for some people, their purpose, because everybody has talents and gifts as well too, right? But knowing the difference between understanding that your talent and your gift may not be your purpose. Your talent and your gift might be what leads you to your purpose. So that's another thing that a lot of people have to understand too in the pursuit of your purpose. Because what I've come to understand is that a lot of people who don't succeed in a gift or talent, they give up because they felt like now their purpose hasn't been fulfilled.
Right.
When that's not necessarily it. It could be the experience of going through your gift and talent that leads you to your purpose. It's about how you affect people on your route to wherever you're trying to get to, right? Because let's think about it, y'all. How often, because like you said, Tim, by coming from a place of substance abuse and to now being able to motivate people, would you feel like you would have been as effective if you didn't suffer the abuse?
Absolutely not.
Because there's so many self-righteous people out here who do certain things, like they go to church or whatever, right? Or they'll read a Bible. They never experience what it's like to be out here, to be able to witness to people. They just witness to people based on what they can repeat. So for you, like you said, if I didn't suffer due to the abuse myself, how could my purpose be fulfilled? So all things that people look at as bad is not always meant for bad.
Right. I agree.
But the people along the way is what gives us our guilt and shame and conviction. Right? Because whatever our abuse is, because it could be drugs and alcohol, it could be attention, right? Because some people just like a lot of attention. You know what I mean? They want to show themselves, they want to be them, right? It could be money. Some people just into money to the point where they'll do anything for it, anything that they can do. But it's the people along the way.
And you said it, Rob.
That you hurt.
I'm gonna tell you something. In my darkest days on this planet, trapped in active addiction, I could not understand why. Man, I was always a good guy. I would give people the shirt off. My mom and my grandma told me that when they would take me to the park, they would take my toys away from me because I would go and give them away, and they just bought them, right?
Wow.
Why did I have to end up? I knew people that did the same thing that I was doing, but they didn't go off the deep end. They were able to function and keep their families and homes and cars. I smoked everything up. Why?
Right.
But when I came into my purpose, when I discovered my purpose at 45 years old,
Right.
boy, I knew, because to your point, Rob, I can go to a homeless shelter and I can look a person in the eye and say, man, I know what that feels like. I can
Right.
look at somebody caught up in the grips of active addiction and I can say, man, I know what that feels like. And see
Right.
that identification, now their ears become open because I've been there, right?
Exactly.
And so now I can share my experience, strength, and hope with them and plant some seeds. A person, I've seen it, a person that goes to school for a social worker, and I'm not bashing social workers. That's not my point. But
Right.
a social worker who has never lived an addictive lifestyle gonna tell me what it feels like. I know what it feels like to be addicted. You can't.
No.
Yeah. No, because addiction is in so many different things. You know, like what
Absolutely.
happens is that people, like I said earlier about the self righteousness, they judge different levels of things, right? Because it may not have been drugs or alcohol, they act like the other addictions are not as bad. And
That's
you
not
know,
true.
because some people addicted to food, and now they back super
Mhm.
wide, right? Or they suffer through diabetes, or they suffer because they're addicted to food. Some people are
Gambling.
addicted gambling,
Yeah, big one.
right? And so they lose just as much. They might as well have been smoking it up because it's gone the same way, if not faster. The gambling be gone just as faster. At least I knew a lot of crackheads. They check going to dwindle. They're not going to just send the whole check on rocks. They're going to buy a little amount. They're going to burn that up and go back and get more. They're going to burn that up and go back and get more. They're going to go back 5-6 times before they check gone. They may not make it home, but they're going to do 4 or 5 times before they check gone. Not gamblers. Gamblers going in, it's gone. It, that night, it's out of there.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
to your point, Ra, really, when you speak of addiction, it's not about a substance or a behavior. It's about a mindset.
Mindset.
So anything could be a reading, anything could be an addiction, right?
Right.
But when it to your point, you were saying earlier in the beginning of your show, when the emotion, the compulsive emotion to to practice that addiction over intellect, when you know it's going to hurt yourself or other people, now you got a problem.
Yeah. And I'm gonna think, yes, what oh go ahead, what you was gonna say? I was coming
Well,
to you.
yeah, because talking about gambling, I correlated, and this is in recently watching the Super Bowl. I saw a lot of commercials where they were bringing up either FanDuel, DraftKings, and it's like you're programming people. That's being programmed in your brain. So now what they're going to do, they're going to pick up their cell phone. Oh, okay, let me go ahead and try to gamble some money here for these. So it's all about the programming, and people are really not catching that. And there was a movie that I recently watched, and I mentioned it in my last show called "They Cloned Tyrone," which
Mhm.
talks about programming, and it's going to go above a lot of people's heads. But if the viewers watching now, if you have not watched it, I highly recommend you watch it because there's so many food for thought nuggets being dropped. It's really going to help you open your eyes as to how society is and how we're being
Right,
programmed.
right. And to take it a step further with the programming, you know, the news has been the number one programmer of people's emotions for the last year and a half,
Absolutely.
right? They've been controlling the world's emotions because either propaganda is being told or the truth is being told.
Yep.
The way that people can't decipher between the two is that the propaganda sounds more exciting than the truth, right? So you have a lot of it going on. And for a group of people, and this is just for us because this is a great segue into what I was saying about being a certain group of people. You know, even being associated to one political party is an addiction.
Hmm?
But you know what's so worse about this addiction is that this is one of the addictions that we can literally watch how it was passed down. You know, you have a family where it may be an uncle that may have been on something, and then you know, it may have been another uncle or aunt or somebody, right? But then when the kids come through, it skips their generation because they dealt with their mother and their aunt and their uncle and their dad and their mom that was out here getting high and running on missions and coming in, taking their stuff and selling it and all this other shit. Little girls was really in trouble because if you started developing early, you know, depending on especially your mom, she was gonna sell you to get high. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot that went on when it comes to that. But to really look at the way things are now, the political climate has put that it's got a grip on the world in such a way where emotions are so high that the reaction is boom, automatically negative. That even when the truth is being told, they can't absorb it because it's not that feeling. They people love that physical feeling of being angry. I don't know why.
Well, Here's one of my theories, in regards to that. One of the things that I had to do, Ra and Yessie, is I had to understand how I function as a human being. So I had to study human functionality. And what happens is, we really have two minds. We have a conscious and a subconscious. Our conscience is fed by our environment, senses, if you will, sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. That feeds
Right.
our conscious mind. The subconscious mind is below the mind. The sub means below. And when the same information comes across the senses into the conscious enough times, it will then become downloaded, if you will,
True.
into the subconscious, right?
Right.
Once something gets in the subconscious, that's where automatic functions happen, like blinking eyes, breathing, heart rate. We don't have to think about that. That
Right.
happens, it's regulated in our subconscious. So now, when this information, whatever it is, good, bad, negative, positive, what kind of energy it is, if it's the same thing consistently and it gets downloaded in the subconscious, now anything that comes in opposition to that, whether it's true or not, it's automatically rejected. And that's why
That's a
you see
fact.
people, that's why we see people get so angry when you can show them the truth written. Say that ain't true, and they will be ready to fight you because that subconscious is saying, get it out of here, get it out of here. That ain't right.
Fight or flight. Fight or flight. We talked about that on here before, about your subconscious being the ruler of your actions, your thoughts, and how you perceive the world, right? Because there's so many people who get thoughts and stuff in their mind and stuff, their imagination takes over of things that ain't never even happened, right?
You
but
right.
but then they feel it in their body,
Yeah.
and then it shows in the atmosphere. Like
Yeah.
certain people, I try to explain things to people in a way where it's certain people who are empaths, right?
Mhm.
And they can sense the energy in a room.
Absolutely.
You will never be able to hide that you got something going on and you feeling some type of way, right? It's just that once a person stop asking you how you feel, then you need to be worried because then they starting to not care because you're always feeling some way.
100%.
So, and
I
I
like
would
that.
love. I mean, it's the truth because
Yeah.
you gotta pick. Like I said earlier in the show, because we're gonna get into, you know what I'm saying. We're gonna talk about Manny a little bit later on, but I wanted to make sure that we talked about y'all real quick. But uh, yeah, this particular situation is stuff that we always have to be mindful of, right? Because what you said is very important. The subconscious, it really is your fight or flight. It's there to protect you. Until you can control your subconscious, you're
Mm.
always going to have negative thoughts. You're always going to have things that are not really happening in your mind. That's where we all get it wrong at, right? So, yes, let me ask you a question because a lot of times we have in this society, right? Because we pay attention to a lot of things. Like there have been a lot of planes falling out the sky. There's
Oh
been
God.
a lot of things in that nature. So this is what I was thinking, and I wanted to ask you this because
Mhm.
I think it's important to try to figure it out, right? To have a balance. Now, this one thing for us to look at it and think that it's either A, somebody is doing this on purpose because Delta is having the worst time because it's all Delta planes and flights, right? But then we want to think about it, right? If there is somebody trying to sabotage everybody, they would sacrifice themselves. Because think about it. If everybody else is getting flights over that particular airline, what would an airline do? Make everybody scared of flying, period. Now nobody getting the money,
Mm.
right? Or there's a spiritual scenario going on where it's us paying attention that okay, somebody is playing with something, some type of EMP, some type of something that they got out here that they're testing and they're playing with people's lives, testing it because it's the only way they could test it if it's live, right? Are they trying to fine tune it where they're knocking things out the sky, but in a way where it still doesn't crash, like actually kill people like it did the first couple?
Mm-hmm.
Because this plane flipped all upside down is crazy. What do you think? What do you think?
Well, it's I think it's a combination of both, to be honest. And I correlate that to the weather manipulation. So for those who don't know, there is the HAARP machine that exists in Alaska. So it's HAARP. And so I'm correlating it because obviously weather manipulation, whatever radio frequencies and all that have you, both have an impact on our system, on our solar system, and this is going to impact the planes as well. So I think it's a correlation of both, and people just need to really look, or should look, further into it. Hopefully, gaining more of that interest to educate yourself and make that decision to say, do I want to fly? Do I want to drive? Etc. I mean, it is getting scary out here. But Rod, to your point, I think it's a combination of both, spiritual and people playing with things that they should not be playing with. Because, I mean, why? If it's not broken, why? What are you trying to do? That's what I think about. So, but honestly, in my honest opinion, it has to do with that HAARP machine. That HAARP machine is, I mean, look at our weather here in North Carolina. We're getting 4 to 6 inches of snow that's predicted for tomorrow, and that's not normal for over here. Or what happened in Western Carolina, or what's happening with the hurricanes. I mean, it's just a lot of bizarre things, and the only correlation that I hear is because of the weather manipulation, all these gadgets and machines that they have. So again, for those who are not familiar with the HAARP machine, the closest one to us is in Alaska. Please look into it, educate yourself, and become familiar with how that impacts us and our system here, our ecosystem, our livelihoods. But.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I wanted to ask y'all, because having a platform, it's just so much more that we have to pay attention to now. Right. There comes a time where we have to almost become real journalists, because we have to figure it out, because we have to be able to help people get through their things. Because like you, Tim, if you're being an advocate for a person that's going through any type of substance abuse, certain things trigger people to use. And one of the things that I've ran across, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, because I'm sure you being in it, first off, but a lot of things outside of just the raw emotion of loss or failure, it be a lot of times fear that causes people to really want to use.
100%. As a matter of fact, in the program, it says 100 different fear driven by 100 different forms. Fear can take on different forms, and you don't realize it's fear, but it's all fear-based, right? And, one of the things that I really focus on when I'm working with people is the most powerful government on the planet. We have governments that are doing stuff that we have no idea. And the majority of it is money motivated. Let's face it, America is a business, right? And it's about money. But in reality, it has become more to the forefront here, in the last century or so. But in reality, the most powerful government on this planet is self-government, because people who govern themselves don't need policing, right?
Right.
I focus on, 12 principles for self-government, right? To inner peace, right? Honesty, hope, faith, courage, integrity, willingness, humility, discipline, forgiveness, acceptance, awareness, and gratitude. So when I practice these every day, those principles are laws. Those are the same tools that help me go from looking on the carpet, looking for crack rocks, smoking anything that would melt, to becoming a responsible, productive member of society. April of this year, man, I got 21 years clean and sober. Man, I went to treatment 12 times. They didn't think I was going to make it. But the same principles that saved my life will work for any human being. That's what I promote. I don't promote a belief. I promote a law. Because laws really, Hey, look, this life on this planet is based on laws. Law is the foundation of creation. Everything was created by law. Everything functions by law. Everything exists by law. And if you don't know law, you will be lost. Law creates order.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. And that's the reason why I think with you guys' platform that makes it powerful is because you guys can come from those angles, right? Because even with you, Yessie, by all of the things that you've done in the entertainment space, but more so than that, the education space too,
Yes.
because that's very seldom is that mentioned in your bio, right? It'll go from, you do the acting, you do the
You're right.
modeling, you got the podcast, you got the jewelry, you got all these other things.
Educator. Yeah.
But the education part is never highlighted, right? Like to the point where you got 3 different degrees, you have all these other things. And, I kind of look at like from a different perspective, right? Because, you got all these continual education courses, you got these belts, Kaizen coaching, problem solving, different things. So all of these different elements that kind of make up what your mindset is. Now, if a person just looks at all the things that you named in the beginning when you introduce yourself, they would think that all of that is what you are, versus it's the mind of what you do and how you're able to do that, which gives you the ability to do these other things. Because first of all, you have to be able to use, critical thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Right? In order to learn how to balance things out. Things get overwhelming for people who don't recognize their gift. When you recognize your gift, there's no such thing as overwhelm.
Right. Exactly.
It goes out the window. It's no excuse. You look at life differently when you understand how short it is. When you look around and you see people that was here today and not tomorrow, you look at the word overwhelm a lot less. It gives a lot less sting to that word. When you look around and say, yo, I've only had 15 minutes to sit down today. Understand how many people wish they had that 15 minutes right now. No, or think past that. How much we wish we had 15 minutes with certain people who are not here right now. Let alone whatever they feel.
Yeah.
Right.
So once you realize your purpose, there's no such thing as overwhelmed. You do what's on your plate because your plate has been served to you based on you finally getting the knowledge of, oh, this is my purpose. So yeah, people may be able to look at you, Yessie, and say all of these different things about what you do, but that's not who you are. Right. So what I want to do right now is we want to make sure that we understand the difference between having platforms and speaking to people the way we do versus, there's some people out here who kind of got a piece of paper behind them and they feel like that's the reason why. And versus we having the experience. Right? We have the experience. Go ahead. What you going to say?
No, I was just going to say thank you for bringing that to my attention because I didn't even look at it from that lens. So I appreciate you even highlighting that and mentioning that. Yes, you are right. I should do better with bringing that up because I did work so hard to have a double master's degree, to have a Lean Six Sigma Kaizen coach certification, and also in the process of pursuing a doctoral degree in public administration and executive coaching, right? And in addition to everything else that I do, and this is just me, my drive, ambition. I thank God that God made me the person that I am, that I have that continuous drive and ambition. Because honestly, Rob, when I look around, I see a good number of people that are just complacent with just sitting down on the couch, flipping channels, and playing on their cell phones. That's not me at all. And I thank God every day. I mean, again, no disrespect or no offense to you, those who choose to do that. That's your prerogative, but that's not me. I know that with hard work, determination, perseverance, pushing forward, thinking outside the box, learning how to see that negative into a positive is what's going to keep pushing me forward and my family forward. And that's what I choose to do because I want different. I don't want to fall in the hamster wheel effect that past generations and past people have fallen into. That's not me. And I thank God each and every day for that. And I will say this with regards to Oyendia, it stems from when I was in high school. I started at 14 with Strive Media Institute. And I thank God for that opportunity as well. Matthew Johnson was the visionary who started Strive Media Institute out in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And for 4 years, I was under Strive Media Institute, which was a nonprofit organization that aimed to help youth within the community that were interested in broadcast journalism, in videography, in editing, anything communication, mass communications. That was part of Strive Media. And through Strive Media, I had the opportunity. I was blessed to go to Sao Paulo, Brazil at 17. And it was devastating to see the kids in the streets that were homeless, on drugs, prostituting. It was eye-opening for me. I was like, wow, I am so blessed in the United States that I don't get to see none of that. So every kid, and this is a food for thought for parent, if you feel like you have a bratty child, take them to Brazil. Trust me, they're going to open their eyes real quick. Because I opened my eyes, and I'm not saying that I was a bratty child. I was a really good kid, but that helped me really put things into perspective. Because at that point, we are used to seeing our environment. So when you put into a different environment that you're not used to, and you see things from a different lens, see how other people are living, you thank God each and every day for the food, the money, the shelter, the house, the resources, the car, the job, etc. Whatever it is that you have, you thank God because you see other people that don't have what you have.
Yeah.
That's facts.
And so with that in mind, I was able to learn all the videography, mass communications, reporting, journalism, etc. And we were actually nominated for a regional Emmy in Chicago because of Strive Media Institute. The show was called Gumbo Television. We were nominated for a regional Emmy. So shout out to Matthew Johnson for being a visionary for that. But I was able to bring that forward into Oyandia TV, which is the focus. The focus is to inspire, motivate, entertain, educate, and just enlighten the community, the people, seeing that negative into a positive. Don't dwell in the negative. Turn that negative into a positive. So, yeah.
You know, man, I remember when we had that first conversation about Oya India TV, and you told me you shared your vision with me, and I did some research because at this season, time is a high commodity, right?
Mhm.
But when
Right.
I heard the vision and I saw what you were doing, I mean, you've been in movies, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, big time movies, right?
Mhm.
And I saw the other things that you were doing, and helping other people get into the business and share. I said, wow. And then the concept behind multicultural type
Mhm.
of platform, because look, I don't care what color your skin is. If you take a knife and cut it, you're gonna bleed red.
Yep.
See, I never got into that, man. I never got trapped into that division, that device of
Right.
the white man, the black man. Look, I've
Yeah.
had some brothers do me a lot. I've had some black brothers do me worse than some white brothers would. I have.
Yeah.
That's my experience, right?
Yeah.
And so this concept of Oya India TV, I just fell in love with the concept of it from the start because of the spirit behind it.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
the spirit behind it, right?
Yeah.
Like to your point, Rob, you could do something. Yeah, you can learn how to do something, but if it's not within you, if it doesn't come from within, what comes from the heart reaches the heart, right?
That's true.
I have a degree from Concrete University. That's where my degree is from.
School of Hard Knocks, y'all. Yeah.
Right.
Listen.
And so, like I remember, not too long ago, I'm getting ready to launch my course. Let me send this to Yessie, let her look at it, get some feedback. Cause she's sharp, right? And so, iron sharpens iron, and to be on this show with you, Ra, and the stuff that you're doing and how you're helping people, and that's one of the first things you said. Hey, if you're trying to do this, hey, there's a link down here. Let me help you. I can help you. Just being with, because hey, look, you guys have, you have enough to go and sit down and don't help nobody. But you know what I heard today?
What'd you hear?
That wealth really is for distribution, not consumption. Hello, somebody.
That's true. That's true.
Wealth is for distribution, not consumption, right?
Yeah.
I want to be a conduit, coming in, going out. Come and look, we know the game. The middleman makes the money.
I mean, but you right about the concept though. What happens is when you put it out the right way, more come in to the point where
100%.
now you start to whatever you putting out is starting to bring back more. So it's always about friends, right? You want to put things out so it can bring back more friends, and
Yeah.
that's what money is. Money is just a tool,
Exactly.
but people don't use it as a tool. They use it as a means of consumption. So that's why what you said is very important because they use the money to buy things. They use the money to spend on things, but very seldom do they use the money to invest in things. So that thing can bring back more money, right? Because you got to kind of look at it with the thought process of money. We got to if you take the money out of it and we just focus on the word invest. Whatever you invest in, it's supposed to bring back more.
That is
Whether it's relationship, whether it's your job. This is how you know if you're in the right track as far as where you're going. Like if you give more to your job, but then your job doesn't produce more for you.
Harvest. What does that
You get what I'm
harvest look like?
saying?
Absolutely.
You gotta figure out a way to say, oh, okay, well listen, I've outgrown this.
Right.
Now it's time for me to plant my seed in a bigger field. Right? I outgrew the quarter of an acre, and now it's time for me to go to the full acre now. I'm gonna skip the half, right? Because I done mastered the quarter, so I'm going to the full. Because after I knock out this 1 acre, I'm going to 2 acres. I'll never go back to a quarter. I'll never come back to a half. I'm going from the quarter to the full. So that's how we got to look at it, right? Like a lot of things in life, but no, it's that the subconscious word for this word is called settle. People settle, right? That's the word for subconscious. That's a subconscious word. Settling is a subconscious word. It's a subconscious action. Settling. Because what you do is you just settle for just the bare of where you are. Because most people think that they're supposed to be further than where they are without doing more.
The work.
You get what I'm saying? Like, yo, you're not gonna get there quicker if you don't step on the gas. Like if you're trying to get somewhere in an hour, that's an hour away, and you're only going 35 miles per hour. I'm sorry, fam, you ain't gonna get there in the hour.
At all.
My bad.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna get there, bro. But you're gonna get there. You're just not gonna get there when you're supposed to. And sometimes, life is about timing.
Good point.
So you want to put yourself in the best position ever. That's why when you said that, Tim, about planting your seeds, the planting the seeds is the part that people always do. It's the watering part that they do not do. Because see, the watering part, either depending on what you're growing, whether you're growing carrots or whether you're growing flowers. If you're growing flowers, it's going to grow up, so you'll be able to see what you got going on.
Yeah.
But for some of us, our purpose is the carrots.
Yeah.
You just got to keep watering it. You don't see it grow.
Yeah. I always talk about poor people think differently than wealthy people, right? Poor people talk about money all the time. Rich people talk about things. Wealthy people talk about ideas, right? And see, when Yessie approached me about Oya India TV, it was an idea. It had nothing to do with money. You get in a room full of wealthy people, they're not talking about no money.
Right.
They're talking about ideas.
Right.
That's what you said about the mixer. You said it. You said it earlier, Ron. Hey, look, we're having this event. Come down and rub shoulders with some people and tell them about your ideas and listen to their ideas. Had nothing to do with money.
And see, but this is the dopest part about it though, Tim. It ain't about money, but you can make money.
Oh, absolutely. That's the end result.
You get what I'm saying? right?
This,
Like
this,
so it's like a no-brainer. It's one of them things that you don't have to go into the situation with the thought in your mind. How can I make some money? The thought is, who can I get to believe in my idea?
you know why? Because you can never kill an idea.
At all. And
Oh,
Rock, can I say something with regards to that?
of course.
So with that in mind, I want to kind of put things into perspective for individuals too. Like Ra was saying with the idea concept, or like Tim was saying, similar to how you invest in a degree where you pay hundreds and thousands of dollars, similar how I invested in my acting classes, because I've taken classes in New York, LA, online, all over the place. It's an investment that you initially put forward so that you can see the fruits of your labor later. That's the same thing you're doing
Mhm.
here. You're investing your time, energy, resources, because you're eventually going to get what is called the return of investment, ROI, at a later date.
Right.
Right.
That's
So it's
right.
really about what's up here, investing that time, energy, resources in the forefront. So that way you are going to get paid. It's just going to take time, but you have to show that passion, that drive. Same with me when I went to school. I had to invest hours, lack of sleep. There was money, time, resources, a bunch of stuff, but I still got my degree. I saw my fruits of my labor, but it took money, time, lack of sleep, etc. So just think about that. Food for thought. I just wanted to correlate that to the audience and listeners.
Nah, it make a lot of sense because we always got to put ourselves in that place to say, all right, yo, if I'm going to do something, I have to do it. Everybody's not going to agree with you when you have to do it. Everybody is not going to support you. You're going to do something and you're going to think that because maybe you get a lot of likes and pictures, maybe you get a lot of views and stories, that's going to translate into your business. And that's where so many people go wrong. And that's what makes them give up, right? Because they expect their family, and they expect their friends and their high school friends and everybody else to just see what they're doing and immediately help share, comment, like, post, and all this other stuff. And then you realize that a lot of people are transactional. I talked about this last week. You know, transactional relationships. People are only going to do as much as they feel like they could get out of you. Once they feel like, oh, if they do something for you, it's going to put you in a further space than them, then you're not going to get that support. And then at the end of the day, that's the goal, right? You shouldn't even expect it from them. But how often do we get upset about things that we expect from people?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Because we expect people to do us the way that we do them, not realizing that we're doing people the way that we do them because this is who we are.
You said it
You
earlier.
gotta know,
And look,
you gotta know
mhm.
you. Go ahead. What you gonna say?
You said it earlier, and I like the way you said it. Is that if people have an issue, we call it keeping our side of the street clean. If they have an issue, that's on them.
Yeah,
They have to deal with that, right? You know, I ask people often, just have this conversation with a couple relatives, family members. This past weekend, I work hard, like you said, Rob. Man, I've been pretty much working this course. I've been working on it for a year, right? Matter of fact, I had to step away from Oya ND and TV for a little bit because I had so much on my plate. I didn't have bandwidth, right? And I was
right.
just, it was, and so what I had to do was backtrack a little bit, right? Because I know what my vision is. My vision is, and I asked some family members, "Why do you think I do what I do?" And you know what they said?
What's that?
Okay.
Money.
Yeah,
Okay.
And I was like, "You are so wrong." And let me tell you, and this worldwide audience we have, why Talk Man Talk does what I do. If I can help some people, other humans, especially young people, avoid some of the pitfalls that I went through, being homeless, being divorced, bankrupt, not being there for my kids. If I can help some people avoid that, then everything that I went through is worth it.
yeah.
I don't care about the money.
Servant, service, a servant. And yo, look, there's very few people that have a servant mindset because they look at it from a different perspective. You know, whenever people talk about Jesus in a way where you know, they want to talk about the miracles, but they never talked about the washing of the feet.
Right.
The
Right.
humility of a person who has all power, but he was watching his
Servant leadership. That's right.
You know what I mean? Like it's that thing. Hold on, y'all. We got a comment. Let me make sure we get this in before we get too far. Christina Caldwell. She said the first thing I learned in a network marketing company is that your friends and family are not the ones you want to approach first. And look, it's a fact. The problem is most people go into things with that in mind. Social media is an illusion there. People think that when because you get a lot of likes and stuff and comments on pictures or things that people could just look at, they don't really look at that as support, right? But when it's your business and you got a t-shirt company, you got a podcast, you got a film coming out, you got products, you got or whatever. Oh no, they're definitely not gonna share that because they looking at it like you said, Tim, money. If I do this for them, they're gonna get all this, and they ain't gonna think about me. They ain't gonna break me off. They're not gonna give me because transactional. People, most of the time, it's your family, and your friends, even your coworkers at times. You know what I mean? Like they'll hang out with you, right? They'll come to a party. They'll do something like that. But when it comes down to actually really supporting this, it's like transactional. And I look at that in all relationships. I tell you, you can play with people if you want to, but once their energy turns towards you about the fact that they recognize that you only do things if things are done for you, these people are going to get away from you. And no matter how much we try to hold on to things, we got to realize when it's okay for us to not always win. Like it's okay to be a service to others sometimes. It's okay to allow your pride to just have a seat for a little bit. I bet. You know what? I'm gonna wash the dishes.
Hello.
Right? Or hey, you know what? Let me hold this door. I'm gonna hold this door for everybody, male and female. Everybody that's coming behind me, I'm gonna hold the door for y'all. You know why? Just because. I don't care what you thinking about me. I don't care what you having going on in your life. I'm gonna hold the door for all of y'all. Versus just holding the door for one person and just letting it go and then swing and hide and slide. Because you got people in this world who look at things based on a certain thing. I ain't holding no door for no man, or I ain't opening no door for no lady, or I'm not. People have in their mind already what they feel like. Oh, I'm too good. I heard a quote the other day. Well, it wasn't a quote. It was a woman talking, and she was saying that just because she's a woman, it's just certain things she just should never have to do. She should never have to take out a trash. She should never have to, do all these other things. And I was thinking to myself, but if you're there by yourself, what does your house smell like then?
Yeah.
Right? Because men and women have to come in with a set of domestic skills. Like, why would you? Why are women dating men who mothers still wash their clothes? Like, you just figured that out? Like, yo, this dude know how to wash clothes?
Right.
And you expecting him to problem solve, and he can't even separate the whites from the colors? How what we?
And you want to marry that, right? Exactly.
Right.
But like you talked about, Ra. Look, after you marry them, right, and now you come into reality. You saw all this in the beginning. Now you want to talk bad about him when you were the one that made that decision.
Exactly. And then now you everywhere talking bad about people that you felt like they did something wrong to you when you did all this stuff. And it's like, well, God, he just told you. Look, his mother washes his clothes.
Yeah.
What do you expect if you're talking about, yo, he don't pick up behind himself, or his mother washes clothes to this day. Not just be like, yo, y'all ain't got no washing machine and dryer or whatever. Y'all joint broke or something. No, he takes his stuff there.
I wanted to say something about Yessie, and I wanted to let the audience really, from my perspective, hear the type of character this person has.
Right.
So we, she asked me, to be a part of the vision for Oya India TV, and I agreed. And then I got to the point where I didn't have the bandwidth, and I had a conversation with Yessie, And this is what she said. This is how you know a person's motive is right. And you said this. I want to say this, Rod. You said this earlier. And this is how I said. You can't talk your way out of a situation you behaved yourself into.
That's
You
true.
can't, right?
Right.
And so the spirit behind Oya India TV was about people. And yes, she said to me, Tim, I understand. She said, I understand. Man, do you know how that made me feel? And then she said this, feel free to come back anytime you want to be on the show. Now, that kind of spirit, because you know how some people be like, hey, you let me down? I can't, you, what?
Yeah.
She didn't do that, man.
Nah.
She didn't do that.
You it's a thing whenever, because you know when a vision is yours, you have to take responsibility for it. It's really, you know, having co-hosts and having other people to help support you, that's a plus.
Yeah.
Right? It's a plus, but it doesn't take the responsibility off of you.
Yeah.
Right? But
And
whenever
then
you
Manny
look
came
at
in.
whatever you put in the atmosphere, send me certain people to help me.
Woo.
And then whenever the people come, it's only our place. You know, me, her, all the other people, you, because you know you have your own show. It's up to us to accept it and allow the spirit to work. Now we can't control everything that we've been assigned to do. That's why it's called an assignment. You can only put in the work. You can only put in the effort, right? So look, we got another comment real quick. Right? All right. So we got Christine in the building. She's like, yo, yup, friends are the quick to go party, but when it comes to supporting you, they are too busy. And that's why I learned to categorize people and accept their roles, which is very important about the categorizing part. Because even when it comes to family, you got to categorize people when it comes to certain things in your life. Right? You got some people that you love, but you know if they in the streets a certain way, yo, I love you. But you're gonna have to come over here to grandma's house, or I'm not coming to your house and I can't ride with you, but I love you. Right? Because you in the mix. I can't do that. But she's right. Categorizing people is very important.
You know, I have three. Important. I have three buckets, Ra. Critics, observers, and supporters. Once you identify which bucket to put that person in, then you won't get your feelings hurt. You can't go to a critic and expect support. You ain't going to get it.
At all.
An observer is not going to do anything to help you, but they're not going to do anything to hurt you, but they're not going to do anything to help you. They're just going to observe. Supporters are the people that you go to when you need some assistance, right? So, you know, because I did that a lot of days. I went to critics expecting them to help me, and they wasn't gonna help me. They wasn't there for that.
They wasn't there for that.
And so, Rob, I'm glad you brought that up because I want to give a shout out to Christina for supporting. She was on Oyandia TV, and now she's here watching us and supporting Sparking Conversation. So thank you. Shout out to Christina. You are dope. Yes.
Yeah. And look, I wanted to say this too, man, because you know, you guys are really good at what y'all do over there at Oyandia, man. And you know, you guys have had a lot of very interesting people on who are doing some amazing things. Yeah. And it all comes down to the fact of the people who believe in themselves. And I think that's an energy that a lot of people need to really gravitate to, is others that really believe in themselves. So that way you can align your energy with those people too, because there's going to be times in your life that you're not going to feel like editing. You're not going to feel like, you know, doing this, that, and the third. You're not going to feel like posting. You're not going to, you know, it's going to be days where you're going to post videos and it might get 2 or 3 views. And then you got days where they'll get hundreds and thousands, but the only way you're gonna find out which day those is gonna happen is if you in the day posted. So you cannot get tired of it. And one of the things that I say about life is everything. You cannot get tired of it, because you know you guys have lost one of your members, and over a tragedy this past weekend. So for those of you guys that are watching, you know, author Manny Morales was supposed to be on. He's the other co-host for Oyandia that, you know, he's been very instrumental in their platform as well too, especially with a lot of the guests and things like that, because he's actually worked with a lot of these people and had them on as guests between him and Yessie and stuff like that. With the guests that they have on, they and he came to North Carolina and they was able to do a live and on the set on the scene version of Oyendia and interview people and different things like that. And I want to be very transparent with my audience right now, because we got a few people that's watching right now. I just want y'all to understand this, man. If you don't understand nothing else, to say life is short is an understatement, right? To say that the good die young is an understatement. To wish that it was some other people out here who do the worst things to people, wish they would trade places with some of the best people that has to, that caught demise by however that happened, right? But the one thing that bothers me is the lack of emotional intelligence in the world, right? There's a real lack of emotional intelligence that's going on out here in the world. And I just wish that we could find a way to keep spreading the message, man, because, Manny was a really good dude. And I didn't get a chance to meet him in person. I've only been able to interact with him online and different things like that, but just the way the guy was, the way that he carried himself, the way that he spoke, the way that he encouraged the people that came on, the way him and Yessie worked together on the show. For him to be violently taken out like that by someone that he pretty much, I have to say, trusted. It's a real fallacy, yo. Right? Because you guys, as a team, right, losing a team member, it's a tough thing to do, right? So I want to commend both of you guys, first and foremost, by being able to come on here and be able to have this conversation with me tonight. In spite of the fact that it's so fresh for y'all, the loss that you guys have taken as a platform. It's not even been 3 full days, bro. It's not even been 3 full days, and you guys have been able to come in here and actually really hold it down for Manny in a way where I hope my audience and the people that's going to watch the playbacks, they really get the spirit of you guys. So what I want to do real quick is I want you guys, there's so many words, man. Just let's tell the audience a little bit about Manny, right? And what he meant to you guys and the platform Oyendia.
So I'm just right now, I'm just in an emotional state, so excuse me. I consider him to be a brother, not only a wonderful co-host, but a brother who, he was a fellow Boricua, Boricua pride. And then Tim was our other fellow non-Boricua, but hey, we brought him on. But nevertheless, he was loved by many. And he was very passionate, driven. He knew when to keep pushing, and he wouldn't take what most people would consider losses as a final answer. He would keep pushing and grinding, finding different ways. And he really saw the vision of Oyendia. We were going, like, when we were talking about Oyendia, just the direction we wanted to go. It was amazing, just the vision that we had together. And so it's definitely a tough loss, and my heart goes out to his family, to his mother. Being a boy mom myself, it's tough. You do your best to try to raise an amazing young man, and for another individual who is delusional, and I don't understand what this individual was thinking about when she did this, but just to take someone's child is just heartbreaking, right? And so, just as a little background for those who don't know, I'm actually looking at Action News Jacksonville. So Jax, he lived in Jacksonville, Florida, and unfortunately, this all took place at around 5:20 a.m. when police were were dispatched into where he lived, and a woman claiming to be his girlfriend unfortunately took Manny from us. So, and I say unfortunately, girlfriend, because going on this person's page and also hearing other people, they were not together. This individual was really a delusional person who just probably couldn't take no for an answer. And I want to say this to the listeners and audience. We hear about domestic related cases, but this not only affects women, this affects our men too. So please do your best to protect. If you have an uncle or a brother or whomever, let's protect our men. Even if they have to put restraining orders, it's okay. It's not just for women. This happens to our men too. And Manny was an example of what happened. A person I consider to be my brother, a co-host, and he's not only a father to two amazing children, he's a son, a grandchild, an uncle, etc. He was taken too soon. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the connection that you guys shared, and I got to know Manny. Like Ross said, I never met him in person, but we had several conversations, and of course, we were doing the shows together, and just a bright young man with a great spirit. I saw him, as Jesse said, pushing forward. He was pushing forward to, make progress in his life, and he was about helping other people. He was a connector, man. He brought people in from the show. I remember when we were first getting started, and it was like he had a year of people already lined up to go on the show. It was like, wow. I said, wow, man, I don't even know that many people like that. But that's just what he was, man. And he always shared from the heart. He would share honestly, and it was just amazing that I did the show the Thursday before he was taken away. I came back to do a guest appearance on the show, and we had a great show that day. And it was just when I got the call, I couldn't believe it. I still just, it's hard to believe, and for the reason, when I talk about value, that person didn't understand the value of another life, right? That person probably doesn't understand the value of her own life. And that is one of the things that, as a society, as people, we need to teach, the value of another human. Because when we begin to, as Ross said, remove these devices of division, right? Remove them out of the way, and then we see how really we are not independent, but really interdependent. See, your gift is for me, my gift is for you, and when we join our gifts together, everybody wins.
Facts.
That's how the system was designed. And Manny was certainly a very gifted and talented young man. And as you said, yes, yeah, I do want to give a shout out to his family. You know, certainly my love and respect and words of encouragement is being sent out to you guys. You're certainly in my prayers. So I wish you the very best through this, this tough time.
Yeah. And so, look, before we get out of here, man, this is what I want to do, man. I want to make sure that my audience understand that the reason why I wanted to wait towards the end of the show to even really talk about it is because it's really an emotional situation, right, y'all? It's really fresh, all right, audience. It's really fresh. It just happened on Saturday morning. And, when we say unexpected, we're saying like super unexpected. But that's the thing that I said earlier about life. Life is just like that. That's why it's very important, right? You have to be willing to pick your battles. You have to. You have to use a form of humility. You have to understand that it's better to have peace than to be right all the time. Sometimes it's better than even when a person is wrong. It's okay. Let them be wrong and right at the same time, right? in order to maintain who you are. Because, like Yessie said earlier about delusion comes in so many different forms.
Mm.
And the one form that I know that most people deal with is the delusion that things are supposed to happen the way that you think they are. And that's one of the biggest delusions that a lot of human beings face with. You got to understand that is uh, life is going to life no matter who. You cannot control life. But what you can control is your actions. You can control your emotions. Yes, you may not control how you feel about things, right? It's just certain things going to make you feel a way, but you can control how you react to them.
Mm.
And yeah, very, very seldom do we have those things where people are bent up, where they've been holding things in so long, and the slightest little thing causes them to erupt. And then it could be the slightest little thing from somebody else, road rage, anything else, and then now they're not here no more. I witnessed during the holidays, over a parking space, a man was stabbed over a parking space, which, and when I looked at it, it was his fault. Because you cannot be walking up as 200-300 pound man on a woman during one of the busiest holidays and shopping, and tensions are high and people are worried about this election and they're already divisive and everything else, and over a parking space you get stabbed. But now this woman is in jail for stabbing somebody because she couldn't control her emotions as well. So what I'm saying to y'all is this: life is going life no matter what you do. And I want you all to know, just because you feel a certain way, don't make it right, because what's going to happen is you're either going to lose your life or lose your freedom. Somebody else is going to do either or, and guess what life is going to continue to do? It's going to
Move on.
continue to life. They will not miss you, because they'll only miss you in the beginning. It's just like when people walk around with the RIP shirts for their homies in the hood that they know that's been terrorizing the hood, but now they upset and they're crying because he's not here no more. They wear them t-shirts for a couple of days, and the next thing you know, them t-shirts will never be pulled out again, right? So we have to get rid of the false sense of security that we all hold on to when it comes down to the world. We don't have that. What you have is control over you. And you have to be in positions where you control you. Now, if something happens, it happens. But man, you got to live your life to the point where the people around you will really, really, really miss you. And not the people around you looking at you in a way where it's like, well, damn, I knew something was going to happen. So thank you guys again for coming on, right?
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you guys
Thank you.
for sharing how y'all felt about Manny. I wanted to make sure we saved it for the end because I know it's a really somber time. And you know, look, it's a lot more to come with the situation. So it's a lot more to be dealt with, a lot more emotion. There's a funeral coming. It's a lot of things going on. It's just a lot. You guys have a show on Thursday coming up, a live, and yeah. So it's a lot. So thank y'all. Thank y'all for being willing to come on the platform still and hold the date. Thank y'all for being able to have the conversation with me that we had today. It was a great conversation. I'm so thankful that you guys were able to make it, and I hope that you guys continue to keep pushing and keep finding Tim. I hope you can continue to keep finding time to jump on and help keep the balance going and help keep things rolling, because it's always cool to have people, even when you think you don't need people.
Absolutely. 100%. Woo.
Right?
That's heavy.
You know what
That's
I'm
heavy.
saying?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because I know I do so much stuff by myself,
You
but I
too.
don't look at it that way because of the people I do it for.
Right.
Right? It's like I feel them doing it with me even when I have to do it myself. But when there's times that help can come in and people can get the help, man, I don't get jealous over it. I encourage it. So I hope that
Yeah.
you have more time to jump on whenever you can. Jump on Oya.
Yeah, I'm gonna
We
do
know
that,
Yessie, we know Yessie will hold it down, but we hope that you guys continue to keep the balance and keep moving. And Oya is going to do nothing but continue to grow, and we want to keep Manny's, legacy growing and going. We want to make sure that we continuously mention him, and we got to come up with something in his name. I don't know, a T-shirt, a line, a clothing line, something, because he did a photo shoot for my clothing line,
He did. Yeah.
and so it's a lot. It's a lot, right? So
Yeah.
I got to come up with something. I'm gonna come up with something. We'll all talk about it, and we'll figure it out. But before we get out of here, please tell the audience how they can reach you guys and how they can find y'all if they want to connect and understand more about Oyendia and even market with you guys. Yes,
Okay.
you go first.
Go ahead, Nancy.
Well, first I want to say thank you, Rob, for having me and Tim on. This has been fun. It's been fun, but then at the same time, right towards the end, we're talking about Manny and in his honor. So rest in peace to our brother Manny. You will definitely be missed. And thank you to the audience and listeners for just tuning in. And so you can actually catch Oyendia TV. We go live every Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do go live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and then you can also hear us on different podcast platforms such as RSS, Deezer, Samsung Music, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. You could just honestly Google Oyendia TV podcast and it'll pull up different channels that you can hear us at. So because I did that the other day and I was impressed because I found some other channels that I had no idea we even existed in. So our podcast is all over. Thanks be to God, right? And so overall, I just want to say again, for those who want to know more about who I am, just Google Yessie Rodriguez. It'll pull up a whole list of everything between my social media, website, just background, roster, etc. of what I do. And I also offer coaching with regards to acting and modeling. So if you all are serious about acting, modeling, etc., reach out to me. I have one-on-one classes that I do offer. So I want to help you elevate. Acting is not easy. You think being in front of the camera is easy and expressing all those emotions? Yeah, no, it's not easy. Reach out to me. I'll help you get it right, and we can get you booked and get you some money. Anywho, but overall, I'll say this. Right, what you mentioned about Manny. So his favorite quote that instills in my brain is "Never let the fear of failure overcome the righteousness of success." That was his ending quote every time. And so I'm going to say that to the audience on behalf of Manny: "Never let the fear of failure overcome the righteousness of success." And then my quote with regards to the Carmen line, right? So back in the day, we heard that Biggie Smalls song, "Sky's the Limit" with 112. Remember that song back in the day? But me being a nerd, I Googled it one day and I realized that there is actually a boundary that separates Earth from our sea or from Earth's ground to the atmosphere. Is 62 kilometers. There's actually boundaries. So we're technically, when we say the sky's the limit, we're technically subconsciously adding a boundary into our mentality. So I created a quote back in 2011, and my quote is this: "The sky is never the limit because the galaxies are endless." So,
Wow.
deep thought.
All right. Ra, yeah, thank you, man. It's great to see you again. Great to be on your show. Not
man.
only, do I feel like I'm in the right environment, it's a good environment for me to learn and grow. You mentioned culture. Culture comes from it means to grow, right? Like they take a culture,
yeah.
and then I'm being cultivated. I'm still learning, man. And you shared some heavy nuggets tonight. And in honor of Manny, the connection that you shared with him, Yessie, I saw it. I was right there, and he really loved this vision. He was all in, 100%, right? So his behavior showed that he was committed, to the success of the show. As far as me, you can visit me on my website, talkmantalk.com. I have all of the social media handles. But if you really want to find out about me, just Google me, Talk Man Talk, right? No spaces, Talk Man Talk, and you'll see what I'm all about. And so, again, Rod, thank you so much for allowing me to be on your show, my friend.
Facts. Yeah, definitely. I appreciate both of y'all for coming on. Like I said, man, rest in peace to Manny Morales, man. You was a really, really bright light in a dark space, bro. To be honest with you, man. You was really good at what y'all did. You and Yessie really held the show down. and it was amazing to see that it continued to grow. So special shout out to y'all, Talk Man. Thank you for like I said, making sure that you stayed in the loop even though you had things going on. And another thing to my audience too, I want you guys to understand, substance abuse is real. The opioid situation has been going on for a long time, but now fentanyl has really been taking people out. So addiction is a real thing, and it's even becoming more deadly. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, you couldn't even kill a crackhead. Crackheads have never died. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now the people who getting high now, they die in like a week. So we gotta be more open about our experiences and have a little bit more vulnerability, and understand that a lot of things that we've going through or have gone through is just the road to our purpose, right? So. So to all of y'all that watch tonight, thank y'all for jumping on. To all the comments, thank y'all for doing it. Make sure y'all keep in contact with me, man, because y'all know what I do each and every Tuesday. We get out here and we get busy and we talk to some of the world's most interesting people. All right. So I want y'all to keep staying locked and keeping it tuned in, and make sure that y'all do this one thing that I say each and every week. And remember, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. All right. So until next week, y'all hold it down out